Titan man, how's it going?
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
That you've been, I'm sure, many
I've
times
been here
before
loads
over
of
the
times
years,
before,
but yeah. So we're going to talk today a little bit about you, music production, some new projects that are coming out very soon, and
hopefully
just sort of various other shit, I'm sure, because we've known each other since we were like 14. So
yeah, it's been a long time.
yeah, it's been weirdly, it's been like 10 years, dude.
Yeah.
Just often thought about it.
A
But
whole ass decade.
yeah,
Yeah.
from Radlands to this box on the side of the race course. But yeah, so anti-album.
Yes, the album. It's pretty much done. So we're finalizing it. I'm mixing the vocals, getting it all sorted. I know Annie posted on her Instagram the album's done, but it's kind of not done. Because
Right.
I've still got all of my work to do. It's done on her side, you know,
but you've got to do
everything's
the rest.
recorded and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I'm in the studio every day, finalizing it now.
So what are those last steps like? Like, what are you saying? Is it like really fine detailing, or is it?
Yeah, it's like listening to the same parts of a song
Right.
a million times, trying to like get rid of like a little noise, or, you know, making sure all of the vocals like flow into each other. Because obviously when we record, I don't know how much you know about making music. but
I've seen it been done, but people at home might not.
yeah, it's like you comp it. So we do loads of takes and then take the best
Parts of
parts
each one.
of each take to create one, you
Consistent,
know,
just
consistent
like one
vocal.
line,
Yeah. So we've comped it all, but then obviously when you chop it, sometimes they don't completely line up, so you've got to like move it around and tweak it and stuff. So it's a lot of that, and then a lot of trying to make it not sound shit. But when you listen to it over and over and over again, you kind of go like ear blind to it.
Yeah, because it's especially with those stages where it's like you start hearing what you want to hear and not what other people hear when they listen to it for the first time, which is what, like, you get stuff where like some people release tracks and it's like, I tend to notice it's like really bassy stuff isn't as deep as it's meant to be, or like just odd noises get lost in the mix and stuff. So I guess it's, how long does that take for like one song? Because this album's what, like, I can't remember
The
how
album's
many it
8
is.
songs.
So a shit ton of time.
Quite a lot of time, yeah. I mean, I'm in the studio like every day from 4 in the afternoon till 4 in the morning, like working on shit. But then like I'm not always mixing vocals because of like the ear thing. You kind of
Have to take a break.
desensitize. You've got to take breaks and stuff. So I couldn't really give you like a time frame. Like the way that me and Auntie work, we could be in the studio one day and record a song. Well, I could make the beat, we could record the song, and I could mix the vocals, and the song will be done in like 8 hours. But then sometimes it takes days worth of fiddling with and trying new things to get it to the point where it's ready, you know? So I literally couldn't tell you. I couldn't. It varies so much. Like some songs are easy. I like mix it in an hour and a half, and then some songs it takes me over the span of like a week to get the right things. It all just depends on the song and if I'm struggling with it or not. You know.
I guess it depends on what ideas you've thrown in and just
Yeah. And consistency, I feel, is quite difficult as well. Because over an album, you don't want every song to have different sounding vocals, you know? Like they're different songs, but you want sort of like a consistency in the vocals.
You want it to still sound like the same project. Like it's got to all fit and stuff. Yeah, which I guess is hard when it's been recorded over the course of like however long you've been, like whenever you started like recording.
I mean, some of the songs on the album we've had since before Anti-Life came out. Like I had the beats before then. So that's a long time ago. That's like sat on the beats for like 2 years.
Yeah, because what is I feel like the process with you working with Anti is probably slightly different than if you worked with another vocalist. But like, do you find there's like, you're making like 100 beats and then you're just picking from a backlog sort of thing and then or picking new ones, or
with
how does it go down? Yeah.
Sometimes, And then sometimes I'll just send her a beat that I've made that day, and she'll write something on it straight away, like, yeah, cool, we've got something. My computer is just full up of FL projects. Like, if you look at my desktop, you'd probably throw up, because it's like there's
just covered in
yeah, it's just a mess. But all of those are beats that are potential to use. So when she comes over to the studio, we sit down and go through them all, and then she'll pick out. Sometimes they're not even done, so she'll pick that one and be like, okay, cool, make that into an actual
song length,
like a structured song, and then she'll write the vocals on it. It all just depends.
So you're writing the beats almost completely independent to TK. Do the beats ever change once you introduce the
Yeah, so it all depends on whether we're together while I'm making the beat or not. If we're starting a completely fresh beat under the guise of her like getting on it, it's a different kind of flow than me just in the studio making something myself, you know. Wait, what was the question?
No, it was just like, what's the sort of the workflow from like you having the beat and then it going to TK, and then there's got to be a lot of sort of back and forth, I imagine.
And the beats changing. Yeah. So if I have like a whole beat ready for her, and then she jumps on it, she could then message me, or when she comes to the studio, she's like, could we change this? Or I'm thinking of adding a little singy part here, so let's make a bridge, or, you know, add another section in. It's all very fluid. So like with the beats, they could completely change from when I sent it to her to then how she is on it. You know, the beats could change. It changes in pitch, or melodies change and stuff. I think we just try and make the best thing that we could make. So if that means changing something in the beat, or if that means with T changing something to do with the vocals, maybe trying a different flow or whatever, you know, we work well together, so we're always open to suggestions from each other.
And I guess now you're project-wise like number 5, 6? Trying to think in terms of just like EPs and albums and stuff.
It would be 4 EPs, not including the drill one. 5 including the drill one, but that wasn't really like an EP. That was just like a.
There was like because that was 2 tracks, wasn't it?
Like a tape or whatever.
Yeah, and then I guess, are you not including Fright Night as well, or is that being?
Yeah, that was a tape as well. I guess that's not included. Like, because we tried to do one every year since we released Paradox. It was like Paradox, Anti-Life, Unassociated by Association, Tongue
and
Twister.
Now this one.
And now this one is like our main releases, and then all of the other like singles and tapes and
fun stuff in between.
Yeah, just stuff on the side, working towards the main project, you know.
Yeah, which I've got sort of 2 questions swimming around my head. One is following on from what you said about how like some tracks are like super quick to put together and some take like ages. Which one's been the quickest, and also which one's been like the longest? Like,
we've got so much music. It's like it's hard.
You actually do have quite an insane discography for like how long you've been about.
Yeah, I mean, we've been releasing music for like what, 3 years? Coming up to 3 years.
Yeah, I think it was like the cusp of 2020 when you dropped Paradox, wasn't it? So.
I think it was 2021. It was March 2021. So
shit. You're probably right. Yeah, like 3 years.
But we've released so much, and then also the amount of songs that I have on my computer that I listen to that aren't even out, or probably won't even see the light of day. I'm just trying to think of what ones took the longest. I can say in terms of projects, Anti-Life took the longest, and I felt was a lot of hard work sort of went into that. But
there was a lot of people involved with that as well. Like, it's very sort of feature heavy.
Yeah.
So I imagine that slows it down as well when you're waiting for external people to send stuff in.
Although Vince and Remy on that song that we done, they came over to the studio. I'd sent them the beat a couple of days before and was like, come over to the studio, and they both wrote their verses like that night,
just
in the studio while we were all chilling, and then they'd sent that over like bare quick, which is surprising because usually when you ask for a feature, you're waiting for fucking ages.
Yeah. Never mind 2 on one song.
Yeah, exactly. Which was surprising in a good way. But yeah, I'm not sure about songs, but projects definitely. I feel like Anti-Life was the longest work-wise to complete. I feel like after that, Unassociated, that EP we were like super prepared for. So we had that finished months before we were even thinking about releasing it and stuff. I don't know, the way it just worked. Yeah. But also that was 4 songs and Anti-Life was 8 songs as well. We kind of fucked ourselves over with Anti-Life because that was like all of our music.
Yeah, Anti was saying you used up like the whole backlog and then we're like, shit, we've got to start from like the very beginning of like the writing process and like you making beats and stuff, which is probably daunting when you're like...
Yeah, I mean, going from having all of this music to then being like, okay, now I have nothing. So I've got to now make all new beats and Anti's got to write all new lyrics and start that whole process again. But luckily now we're in a position where we've got so much fucking music that we could probably drop songs for the next 2 years, you know, of what we've got. But
that's the same issue we had with the old podcast, which was like sometimes I'd record like 4 episodes in a week and then just upload them all at once and then be like, shit. And it's almost like we've gone the opposite way with this one, where we're doing like the weekly releases, but both me and Alex are doing 1 recording day each week. So it's like per month we're making 6 episodes, but we're only getting 4 out. So we're always sort of
stacking some up.
Yeah. And we did 10 before we released any. So we're like, we're filming to these guys way in the past for them, which is...
I feel like that's the best way to do it though, because then you can think more about the release and the rollout and the promotion and stuff.
And you don't have to rush if like, I don't know, if you need to tweak something, like you say, because it's the same with podcasting. There might be stuff where we want to like cut around or clean up and stuff, and we have time to make those decisions. And then for the promo and stuff, it's like same thing. But I imagine starting from scratch is always like daunting.
Yeah, it is. But you know, we're luckily we've sort of built it back up now, and with this project, it was very this new one that's coming out. It was very like curated. I don't know. I feel like every project is curated, obviously, but I don't know. It felt like we had the plan for it so much earlier than other projects when we were doing them, you know?
I guess by now it's because you know all the stages of the process, so you can kind of... I imagine when you did Paradox, it was sort of like, let's make songs, release them, and then along the way discovered all these other sort of... like all the things you don't think about until you're actually doing it, and then you're like, shit, and then you have to remember them for next time.
Yeah, so I mean, I would love to just make a song and as soon as the song is done, just release it. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that, because you've got to plan all of the promotional shit, and like if you're doing gigs and you know, because if you want it to with music, if you want it to do well, you've got to do that stuff.
Yeah, and there's so many different, like you say, it ties into like how you're doing live shows around the launch of it, fucking who's posting what on social media, who you're telling about, like it's all those different aspects. Like it's a thing as well, like I've, from shooting musicians and stuff, from talking to like the managers and like, it depends. You do get some musicians who will come to us for like a photo shoot and it'll be like, cool, we just need photos, and then they'll throw like, sometimes like, especially when we were younger doing stuff, like some musicians will get a photo shoot from us and then just post like the whole shoot on the same day, and they'll just be like, what? And then there's some musicians where you'll send off photos and they won't post any of them for like 6 years because they're ahead on their actual like feed and stuff as well.
Yeah, I think you've definitely got to have some sort of strategy, even if it's photo or video or music, whatever, you know, you've got to think about the timings and stuff, because like you said, if you do a shoot and then just release all of the photos, that's all of your content gone. You know, you want to like kind of drip feed it along so that you get the most time out of one bit of content that you can, you know.
Yeah, and give yourself enough time to like do the next bit of content as well as you can as well, not being like, oh shit, I've got nothing to put out. And like the other thing we have to sort of deal with is like sometimes we'll do something and be like, oh, that's gonna look so good on our social media, can't wait to post about it, and then we have to wait until the actual project comes out. So there's like, we have to factor in like, we could do a month where we're super, super busy, but be like, none of this shit can be released till like 3 months time. We can't talk about it for 6 months. It gets all locked away. So it's just like,
do you find that you kind of fall out of love with it in that time as well? Because I feel like with music, I don't know, I find it that if I'm working on something for ages and then it's done and then it's a wait until it releases, I just want to be done with it there and then, you know.
I imagine as well what you're saying about, because you do the mastering and stuff, you've listened to it like a million times, so it must just be like, fuck. And then you have to go play the songs live and you're like, oh
yeah, man. Well that's still fun no matter how many times you do it. But not that when you say mastering, not to be like you used the wrong word or whatever. I mix and record and engineer. I make the beats, and then we have someone that masters for us. So that kind of adds like another level of another pair of ears to hear it. So like if I was missing something out because I've listened to a song 100 times, then my boy who masters it kind of clocks it and is like, oh, by the way, you should do this or you should do that. Shout out Dom. That's our mastering engineer. Nice. I met him in college. He's blessed, man. He's really good to us. He knows what he's doing. So
yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean for us it's probably a bit different because like it's weird. Like once me and Alex finish, like I think for video it's a little bit different because you spend a lot longer like clipping stuff. But for photography, like the process for us is still the same no matter how long, because we're just sending off the final project and then waiting for them to say like, this is when you can post about it. So, and then we've got Matt who does our social media, so that kind of keeps it out of our own hair. I'd say for personal projects, sometimes when it takes like ages to fucking come to fruition, as like, because I release like the books and stuff, like at the moment, like the next book that's coming out, which is on display at the moment, unless something goes wrong with this episode and we release it at the wrong time, but that work is from like over a year ago.
Right.
So it's kind of like this weird thing where it's like, I haven't thought about those photos. Like the book's finished and stuff. It's just waiting to be printed, and it's been finished for ages. So it's just kind of like by the time it comes out, you've kind of like,
you're mentally done with it.
Yeah, and I'm like working on the next book. And
obviously the next thing is what takes priority in your brain, not the last thing.
Yeah, until it, which will become a battle for promotion, because I'll just be like, throw it out and have nothing to say on it really, because it's like my brain's over here now, which is kind of like you end up pushing yourself back into different mindsets and stuff. But
that's why I said I wish we could just release music as and when we make it, because if we did that, then I don't need to think about that song that we made 2 years ago that we're now releasing. Yeah, you know, I can focus on the new stuff that we're making, which I want to focus on more because I like it
on
more,
the actual making stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but yeah, it's just when you're a creative in this space, you kind of have to just deal with it, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's a battle for no matter what you're doing, though, isn't it? Because it's like you finish something and then you're kind of done with it. Like it's for other people at that point because you're on to the next stuff. So yeah, it's annoying, and I feel like it's only got worse with like for musicians, especially with like social media, because you have to post fucking a million things about it. Yeah, you have to schedule that all up to timing and things, and it's like
I fucking hate social media, man. Like if I could live under a rock, I would. Like I'm fine just spending all of my time in the studio and not, you know, being active on any of that. But you kind of have to.
Yeah, and it requires you to make more. Like our issue was always when everything went to reels, it was like, what? So we can't just make a really cool photo and post that. We have to then make a little video of the fucking making the thing or doing something around the thing. It's
TikTok
just like
era, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once TikTok came out, everyone every other social media platform is
hopped on YouTube
gone
Shorts,
towards
Instagram
like
Reels,
the short video type of thing.
Yeah, and it's a fucking nightmare. Of like trying desperately not to like use it, because it's like, I don't know about you, got to the point where you just do nothing but scroll on Instagram, and then just like, oh man,
I feel
brain
like
rot.
I spend too much time doom scrolling recently, and I catch myself doing it, and I have to just like throw my phone away because I'm wasting my life away on the internet, man.
Oh, dude, I've noticed the evil thing like as well. Sometimes you'll open up like YouTube or Instagram to like sometimes you just want to watch someone on YouTube, and immediately the shorts appear first when you open it, and then 10 minutes later you're like, I swear I came on YouTube to like search something up.
It's good at distracting you.
Yeah, it's so good. Or just like, I went on Instagram to answer a message, and now I've scrolled for 10 minutes. Just can't remember what I even looked at. It's just like, fucking, I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate
it's the
it
age
so
we
much.
live in, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking pain. But try as we might to disconnect. I mean, I'm part of the problem. We're making a podcast. We're feeding into it. We're making reels.
Yeah, but that's
this.
long
It's
form,
like,
isn't it? It's not like a 10-second dopamine hit. It's like
a little
actual
bit
conversation, you know.
I think, and as well, I think that's why we went with a podcast, because we're like, it's not as bad for your brain, hopefully, than fucking the shorts and stuff. But anyway, looping back round to actually not getting all depressed about the internet.
Yeah, sorry, I feel like I just bring that vibe with me everywhere I go.
I'm the worst for it as well. I really hope this podcast, I wouldn't like this show wouldn't bitch about social media, but I think it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
I think it's just like comes up. But I was going to talk about you producing for other people as well, because a lot of people know you for your work with Anti, obviously, and stuff. But you do produce other stuff as well.
I work with a few different artists, local artists. Nothing's come out yet, but I've got so many songs with other people that just needs to be sorted and stuff. But I'm open to, you know, working with new people. The way I work is, as a producer, is not how do I say it? It's not like the same as your normal internet producer, I guess, because I don't sell beats.
Yeah.
I don't have a website where you can buy beats off of me. I don't upload beats onto YouTube. It's all quite personal to me. I wanna be as involved as I can be with the whole creative process,
from start to finish,
not just making the beat. So I work quite well with people actually in the studio, and that's why I feel like I thrive the most. You know, being involved in the writing as well as the making of the music. I guess you call it executive producing or whatever, you know. But
I think it's just still producing that. I feel like you said, because you said it's like internet producers who are just trying to like get their beats out there. So the quickest way to do that is to make a beat and put it on the internet and hope someone uses it. As I feel like you're kind of going a bit of a more old school sort of route with actually like working with the artists on the song, getting it done properly and being involved, which probably produces better music. I'm going to take a risk out there and say,
I think in ways, yes, but also if people be making good music out of anything now. So
that's true.
A lot of people that are up and coming now, like in the underground scene in the UK and other places, it's like they've been recording on their phone, like in their bathroom with a beat that they found on YouTube for free, and they're blowing up, you know, practically overnight. And now they're like big names. So I feel like it's just whatever works the best for you personally, you know.
Because it depends on the process. But I quite like the collaborative approach. It feels less like say internety and disconnected.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff.
I like the connection with the people. And when I have people over to the studio, you know, we have some drinks or we smoke or whatever, and it's
feels like more of a thing then, I guess, than just like Google driving someone a beat and then waiting for them to Google drive something back and being like, okay, cool. Like, it feels like you actually like did something as like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like when I collaborate with people, it's the same sort of thing where I prefer to like actually like sit down, talk to them in person. As I think like in the modern day, there's a tendency for some people just to want to like message about it and then just do something. But it's like when you have that little bit, I don't know what it adds, because in theory it shouldn't add anything, but it definitely.
Well, we're humans, aren't we? Like we thrive off of connection with people in real life, not through the air by the internet, you know. But I feel like the best studio sessions I have are like someone will come over and we'll just talk and just chat shit and not really get any work done until we start doing the work, and then it's better because, you know, we're comfortable with each other. We've been hanging out, talking for a while and just chatting shit basically. And I feel like that's when the best music happens, when you're comfortable and, you know, it's just like hanging out with your bros or whatever.
And it's much less like almost like when you hang out with people, like the pressure comes on. It's like the same with photography. Like some of the like favorite shoots I've done is ones where you've just like hung out with them for like an hour or two before, which is like a luxury that we're afforded because it's like our studio, so we can afford to like just do that. As like with other photographers, I understand it's a bit more difficult compared to shoots where like I've worked in other studios where it's like, okay, we've got 2 hours, we've got to just like go. But
I
like
hate pressure and deadlines and stuff. Like it just makes me not want to do it, you know.
I think there's like a certain line where some pressure's nice, otherwise I just don't feel compelled to get stuff done. And true, then but also this, I understand what you mean when it's like it gets too much and then you're just like
like, you know, when know when you were going to do something and then someone tells you to do it, it makes you
and
then
you're like, now
less.
I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. And I think with music it's very much like that. Like if I was going to go and make a beat for someone and then they rang me and was like, you got to make this beat for me, I'm kind of like, well, now I don't want to, because I was going to do it already. But
I understand that so much, and I don't know what the psychological thing is that compels, like, I don't know whether it's normal or whether it's just us two, but like I get it so much. Like sometimes it's just like for me it's like being in like sort of casual situation and people being like, oh, you should bring your camera. And I was like, well, I was until you fucking said that. Like,
no, I'm
like,
not going
no,
to.
it's like, fuck you. Like, like I'm not doing it. I think it's the difference because it shifts it then from being like, oh, I was going to do it for me and share it with you versus now I'm doing it for you. And then I can't just do what I want because you're expecting a certain thing from me or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Rather than I can just do it like no pressure, fuck around, have fun, and then if nothing comes of it, whatever. If something comes from it, great.
Because that's the important thing to me, is that I'm getting fulfilled from what I'm doing with music, and I'm enjoying it, and, you know, being passionate about it and stuff. Passionate about it.
Yeah, because you don't want to get like down on the thing you're like known for and feel like, fuck man, I've got to do this. It's like
exactly.
And it's weird because I guess a lot of outsiders see it as like you're lucky enough to work in like the creative sort of side of the world, but it still can feel sometimes like, oh fuck, now I've got to go do this, I've got to go do that, I'm doing all this shit that's not actually what I want to be doing. It gets, even if you are doing what you actually, sometimes it doesn't feel like it, which is like a weird, I don't know how to explain it.
It's a shame when the thing that you enjoy doing the most doesn't feel like that. Yeah. And when I get that feeling, that's when I'm kind of like, right, need to reevaluate, you know, what is going wrong here, because I enjoy making music.
Yeah, why aren't I enjoying it this time? Like, no, I get it as well. There's certain, I feel like it just comes with experience as well, because you start noticing things like early on in some projects as well. Like you start noticing like the red flags of who's like, oh, maybe just avoid someone like that, or like people you know you'd like to work with and stuff, and like you find sort of where you can make life easier for yourself as well, which has been sort of like, I feel like that's an ongoing thing as long as you live though, which is annoying because I wish I could just figure it all out now and then just have a very sort of easy life. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think an easy life is possible, to be honest. If you're not grinding and working towards something yourself, then stuff's not going to happen. And I don't think you should. I've sort of come to a realization recently that you can't really trust anyone to make your situation better. You've got to be okay to do that yourself, you know? So if you're looking towards other people to make your situation or your life or whatever it is that the context is better, then you know you're doing it wrong already, because you've got to be able to make it yourself type shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, I've definitely sort of experienced that sort of. In photography, there's always that balance of like sometimes we'll go on like mad tears of like loads and loads of commissions, and it's like it's obviously good and they're fun to work on, but sometimes you end up just doing like so much to build up someone else, or you're doing it like you're just producing stuff that's like just their shit, and then you're like, well, what have I gained from this? Like realistically, and you're just like, oh well, because it's always that sort of. I think it comes from like when school teaches you like get good grades, and then you go to university, then you'll get a good job, then you'll be happy, then you'll get to chill. So it's like everyone's being like willing to like sacrifice what they actually want to be doing to do it differently for other people. But I find like with whatever you're doing, like if you do something, it breeds more of that thing. So if you like, sometimes you'll get thrown something that you're like, oh, that just seems like a pain in the ass. I don't want to do it, but you'll do it anyway. But all you end up is not like, oh, I'll do it this once and then get rid of it. You end up with doing that and then end up with 3 more of that, and then it keeps going. It's like if I didn't enjoy podcasting, it'd probably be a bad idea to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Because it just, you end up doing more and more and more, and it will like spiral.
And I don't think it's a healthy thing to actively do something that you don't enjoy, whether it is in a creative field or work or whatever. You know, if you're not enjoying your life, then what's the point? Because you're just fucking wasting it. It's unhappy.
Like, being unhappy with the idea that like, oh well, if I do this for a while, then at some point it will blossom into something that's actually like worthwhile. But it probably won't. Like realistically, it's like, as you're almost better off doing like. It's almost like all the life advice you get as a kid from like school and shit is like completely backwards, because they'll tell you like, no, work the shitty job that you don't enjoy, and then after a certain amount of time you can go off and do your stuff you like on the side, versus what you should probably do, which is just like
not go to school. no,
but it's like
go to school.
But then again, you think about like how many stories do you hear like we grew up skating, like how many skateboarders like are now like living the dream of like doing skateboarding. It's still hard. They're still getting beaten out. I don't know about we know, but like pro skate, not many. But like, then again, they don't have to be successful skateboarders. They're just still Dave's still skating, man. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I fuck with that.
That's ideal.
Man's like,
you know what I mean?
He's getting there. Yeah, age-wise. But that's what I'm gonna be like that when I'm his age. I can't lie.
You know what I mean? Like, but of all like the pro skaters, how many of them just like ditch school and work and risked it just to get? And because of that, they had more time to get really fucking sick at skating. They still had to grind, just in a different direction. It's like,
I think that's just the pressure of society, though, isn't it? Like they want the government and society wants you to follow that direction of you go to school, you go to university, and you get a job. And that's it for your whole life.
Why
you work until you, however old,
benefits them.
Yeah, because you're feeding the machine, right? So when you're doing something creative or expressive, like music or skateboarding or art or photography or whatever, that doesn't really benefit the people up there in any way, shape or form. So obviously they'd be against you doing that, but you can, we're all free people. You don't have to follow the rules of society.
Yeah, until we get to like North Korea levels, I think we're fine to like do whatever the fuck we want.
I seen a post on Instagram, and there's like at barbershops they have those photos of like the haircuts that they have on like the windows and stuff.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
in North Korea they have this like A4 bit of paper.
Is that like the government sanctioned haircuts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's like 6 styles that are allowed, and it's mental.
What the fuck? What if you want a different haircut? You just can't do that.
Yeah.
I find that illegal.
Crazy. It's such a wild fucking place.
Like you get sent to the gulag for shaving your head
and not even just you, it's like you, your kids, your grandkids, and every generation to come. It's fucking wild shit.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, and I think like, I feel like with creative shit, there's always that balance of like, doing something because it like for us in here, we wouldn't get to do a podcast in here with all the lights if we didn't do sort of actual photography work and video work. So it's like, I feel like there is a balance to it of just trying to, it's just when like, sometimes that stuff just fully takes over and then you're like going off in that direction and then you're like, I set out to do this one thing. I was trying to like, you know,
and it splits off into different areas.
It just runs off into this really complicated map of stuff, and you end up way more into something that you never thought you would, which sometimes is cool. You get to discover something new, but sometimes you end up like trapped in that place and you're like, oh fuck. It's just like, how do I get back to actually like building on the things I originally set out to do, which is, it's just a maze. And then there's some people who just seem to be doing whatever the fuck they want and they make millions doing it, and you're just like, how?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of luck involved as well. Obviously, you know, you hone your craft and you work towards making good things and being better and stuff, but you got to be in the right place at the right time at least once. With
the right people and sort of capitalize on that. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. It's sort of how you go about. And I guess we're kind of blessed because we have so many people rocking around the studio and like that we know of in Northampton and stuff. But yeah, it's just how you navigate all those things. It's kind of like just, and it doesn't help creative people as well that a lot of them are quite like shy, reserved people, even though their work can be like fucking out there. You meet them and they're like super like quiet or like don't want to be on camera or like talk to anyone. Like I'm the same way. If I get in a room of like the crowd of people, I'm just like, fuck this.
I was the same for ages. I've been trying to get better at it, but then I feel like I'm a shy person, but then I will just get up on stage and play my guitar in front of as many people as can fit in a room, and it's fine. But then when I get off this stage, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna
don't want to talk.
I'm gonna go and sit in the green room for the rest of the night.
Nah, I get that totally. It's the same with like gig photography and stuff as well. Like, I feel like gig photography isn't as bad because you don't have to talk to people while you're doing it. Event photography is a different ballpark where there's people who come up to you and like start talking and stuff, and you're just like, oh man, you're probably lovely, but I'm so caught off guard because I'm like trying to take photos.
I didn't prepare for this conversation.
You're like, I wasn't. It's fucking wild, but yeah. I feel like, that's just stuff. Is there anything else with the album you want to dig into? Anything crazy people should know about the album when they listen to it?
What to expect with it.
What to expect, what happened when you were making it, I don't know, anything.
Right. So it's called Everything Always Forever, I think.
Yeah, you are right.
That's right. Sometimes I mix the words up, but it's 8 songs. You said earlier when we were speaking that Auntie kind of spoke about the single. Yeah,
well, Andy spoke about the album, but we spun it more towards the single, which
you recorded with her.
Yeah, we did the video.
So yeah, it's 8 songs. I think it's a mature side of Auntie. I feel.
You said to me, I can't remember what it might have been the other week when you were here, where you said it feels like a grown-up version of Paradox.
Yeah. It kind of it does give that vibe. Just from where we were, and there's a lot of emotion that went into the album, and it definitely feels like a more grown-up version of what Paradox was. Just because we're better at what we do now, 2 years on. I think, there's some songs which you would expect on the album, and then there's some songs that you wouldn't expect on the album. I feel like with some of them we've sort of tried to go a little bit more experimental, and just develop, you know, the sound.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for people to hear those songs that are on the album and hear what people think about that. But yeah, I'm just super excited for it to come out. Like I said, I've still got to finish like 5 of the songs and then send them off. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It was fun to record, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, me too. It's annoying because whoever's watching this can probably or possibly already listen to the album,
depending
or
on
it'll come out in like a week's time. As for us, we're still looking like months ahead. Well, you can listen to it whenever you want.
I can send you the link, bro. You can get the early access.
I was proper jealous because TK did a shoot here for the cover art, and it was a day I wasn't in, and then really? Lucy was involved with it, and she was like, TK played the whole album, and I was like,
I missed out. I'll send you the link. We've got it on like a private SoundCloud link, just to listen to like in the car and stuff, you know, speaker test it and that. So I'll definitely send you it.
Nice. I look forward to it. I'm sure everyone else has either already turned off the podcast to go listen to it or is about to. But yeah,
listen to it, whatever camera that is filming me.
I'd say that was a good episode there. Is there anything else? Just words of wisdom, where to find you, I guess, anything?
I don't really have any wisdom. What the hell? That's a tough thing to just put on someone. Wait, are we done now? Is that it?
I think, yeah. Seems like a natural place to wrap it up.
How long has that been? Oh, jeez, it's felt like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird. The time warp is real when you're sat between these lights, man.
Yeah. I don't know. My Instagram is Teen Titan, but with numbers and letters. But you know, if you
figure it out.
If you look hard enough, you'll find it.
It'll be linked below anyway.
Cool. And words of wisdom: stay in school and don't do drugs, I guess, or drop out of school and do loads of drugs.
But if you pick one or the other, basically.
Like don't half-ass it fully, you know. If you're gonna
pick a lane,
if you're gonna go for it, go for it. But that goes with everything in life, you know. Don't half-ass it. I feel like is my words of wisdom.
It's good advice.
Or don't listen to me.
But fully don't listen to you.
Yeah. Just don't half listen to me.
Cool.